All right. Well, welcome. Welcome to this virtual masterclass featuring the world-renowned speakers, Dr. Ona Brown, and Miami-born, that's Liberty City-born, Mr. Les Brown. On behalf of the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, through our Multicultural Tourism Department, we are excited to bring this class, this conversation of hope, vision, and application to our partners, our hotels, our small businesses, and especially our small businesses in our heritage neighborhoods as a way to stay encouraged and to be informed. Stay tuned for an hour of power and information that you can use and to grow. At this time, I would like to thank and recognize a longtime champion of the Miami hospitality industry, the president and CEO of the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, to give some welcome remarks.
Thank you very much, Connie. I'm going to speak very quickly because I want to hear Les Brown speak. Thank you, Connie, and the Multicultural Tourism team for putting together this master class with Miami's own Les Brown. And we were speaking earlier. In a past life, I worked in model cities in Liberty City and was involved in many of the park projects. And I'm still very fond of that area. And hopefully it's a little better because I passed by there. These are clearly unprecedented times, not just for Miami, but also the entire world. And we are grateful that Les and Dr. Brown, I guess Ona, have agreed to join us here. Dr. Brown, that sounds good. Agreed to join us here today to share a message of hope. As a tourism board for Greater Miami and the beaches, our job is to promote Miami and its neighborhoods to the world. Tourism is Miami's #1 industry and the top employer in our destination. There is no greater pride than when one of our own serves as an ambassador and a reflection of our community. And no doubt Les Brown embodies the best of Miami. During these difficult times, we are grateful to have each other and our partnerships. Thank you all for being here. And Les Brown, thank you and welcome home, Les. Connie, back to you.
Thank you. Just as a housekeeping note, the last 20 minutes or so after this masterclass, we will be doing Q&A with Dr. Brown and Les Brown. So if you have any questions, if you would put them in our Q&A chat box. That's the Q&A, not the chat. All right? Okay, at this point, it's an honor to myself and my team, and I want to give a shout out to the multicultural team, Erlinda, Petra, Pam, and thank you, Ellie, and Partnership for helping to bring this together. But it's an honor to have Carol Ann Taylor as the chair of the Multicultural Tourism Committee and GMC board member. She is a trailblazer in the business community and advocates for many that don't have a voice. Carol Ann Taylor will introduce our speakers. Carol Ann?
Hi, good afternoon. This is a great pleasure for me. I must say Dr. Ona Brown is my spiritual godchild, and Les and I have been friends for more years than I can remember. Mm-hmm. Ona Brown has dedicated numerous hours and over 20 years of mastery level work and research in the self-development industry. In 1995, she launched her consulting, coaching, and corporate training firm, World Impact Now, or WIN, with the mission of transforming lives daily across the entire globe. Ona Brown's no-nonsense approach to delivering clear solutions for successful living allows people to escape from the ongoing daily demands of life and dive deep into what is required in order to attain the next level of great achievement and quality living. The daughter of world-renowned motivational speaker Les Brown, Ona is carrying his legendary motivational torch. And Les Brown, as one of the world's most renowned motivational speakers, is a dynamic personality and highly sought after resource in business and professional circles. for Fortune 500 CEOs, small business owners, nonprofit and community leaders from all sectors of society looking to expand opportunity. For 3 decades, and I think even more, the Liberty City
5 decades. 5 decades.
yes, indeed.
Yeah.
The Liberty City-born dynamo has not only studied the science of achievement, he's mastered it by interviewing hundreds of successful business leaders and collaborating with them in the boardroom, translating theory into bottom-line results for his clients. His straight from the heart passion and high energy motivates audiences to step beyond their limitations and into their greatness in many ways. It is a great pleasure to introduce both of you. We've been looking forward to this master class on building forward together. And as Les has always said for many, many years, it ain't over till we win.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank all of you for being a part of this master class. This is really a major part of my life, something that I never expected. I've been gone from Miami for quite a while and probably given only 3 speeches in Miami and spoken around the world. But this time to be able to speak to you, I feel that everything that I experienced, the setbacks, the devastating moments that I went through, being diagnosed with terminal cancer, and my daughter Ona was there 27 years ago, and being able to win the highest award from Toastmasters International, the Golden Gavel Award, and the National Speakers Association, and selected among the top 5 speakers in the world with General Norman Schwarzkopf, Lee Iacocca, Robert Schuller, Paul Harvey. And when I think about my life, that had I not had the experience that I had in Miami, had I not had one of the, at that time, the most devastating experience I'd ever had in my life, I would not be here now. Elsie Robinson said, things may happen around you and things may happen to you, but the only things that really count are the things that happen in you. And speaking to you on this day, I called my daughter in, I said, Ona, I said, you know, we're having a national and global Murphy's Day. And she said, what do you mean? I said, over 41 million people have lost their jobs. The coronavirus is soaring again because of irresponsible leadership. And the restrictions on foreclosures and evictions have been lifted. So you got people who are who've lost their jobs, losing their homes, can't go to work. Just imagine this, that you can't come out. Come on, I've gone from one room to the other, looking out the window, looking at squirrels. Then I go to the other side to look at my neighbor's rooftop. And I said, you know what? I told her yesterday, I said, I think I'm about to lose my mind up in here, up in here.
We've been quarantined for months, but
Yeah.
we want to thank you, the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, for having us. Thank you so much, Connie Kennard. Thank you, Carolyn Taylor, and thank you, William Talbot, for allowing us to be a part of this powerful evening. We want to share with you some things that we've learned and things that we've been working with various CEOs and top executives and various corporations to help them to grow to the next level. So wherever you are at this point in this season in life, there's always room for growth. There's always room for development. And we're going to share with you insights, wisdom, methodology that has worked to help people to grow through the storms of life and to know that it's possible for you to make it through this time.
Yeah, so I know a thing or two because I've seen a thing or two. I'm 75. So being on the planet for 75 years and doing training for AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, General Electric, IBM, Xerox, and the birth of my business took place in Miami. And I had to rebuild my life after coming through a devastating experience. Here's what I did, and here's what I want to share with you. I want you to just write some things down. Number 1, this is a prayer that I say in the morning. Lord, whatever I face today, together, you and I can handle it. Lord, whatever I face today, you and I can handle it. Number two, I want you to write this down and read these every day. And this is one of the things I did as well. I will get through this, and the best is yet to come. I will get to this. I will get through this, and the best is yet to come. My life was turned upside down in Miami. I went back. I wanted to train kids and make a difference there. I did for a while, and then I came under attack. And I remember going before the city commission, asking myself, who are you? Do you need this? And I said, no. And I looked at my mentor. Do I need this $100,000 that Mayor Ferrer and the council are going to re-award me for the youth program? He said, no. And I went up, and as I was walking away from him, my mentor said, Brownie, bet on you. And I stood before the commission and I said, I want to thank you so much for your willingness to work with me, but I'm going to turn this offer down. I'm going to leave. I'm give myself 3 years to earn my first million. 5 years to earn my first million, and I'll be back and start my program again. It took me 5 years. It took me 3 years to earn my first million when I left on a Greyhound bus going to Atlanta, Georgia. And I asked earlier, Bill, how is Joe Oglesby? He was working at the Miami Herald at the time. And I think that nobody looking at me leaving on a Greyhound bus with some marinated frog legs. Who eats frog legs? My mother, they taste like chicken if you've never had them. My mother fixed me a pot of frog legs. I went to Atlanta. That's where I gave my first speech. They said, coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. This is where I am now. And from that time to this time, travel around the world. From that time to this time, earned over $65 million. From that time to this time, impacted millions of people's lives around the globe. And here's what I'm sharing with you. The reason I'm sharing this with you, here's what I know about you and I don't know you. You have greatness in you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. But you're now in a place where I was when I came under attack. I remember the words of Mother Teresa. She said, Lord, I know you know how much I can bear. I just wish you didn't have so much confidence in me.
That's good. That's
yeah.
Good. So
okay, let me do the first step, all right? Because I got a gift to give them, all right?
Okay, well, let me give this first step real quick, Dad.
Go ahead.
And that is to occupy your mind. What do we mean when you say occupy your mind? That means saturating your mind and monitoring your mouth. Our thoughts are so powerful. We know this. And the mindset is what you need to be focused on. One of the things that you need to focus on to get through this particular stage that we're facing as a CEO, as a visionary, as a top executive, as someone who is a high achiever. What you want to do is work on your mind on a day-to-day basis. There's so much negativity in the media. There's so many different distractions in the media. And there's things that if we are not working on pouring into our mind, knowing that our thoughts have power, knowing that our thoughts have magnetic power, and we have to work on the mind so that we can be prepared to create this new reality, this new season that we're stepping into. So understanding the value of saturating your mind and watching what it is that you are thinking. We can't, according to psychologists, we get somewhere around 70,000 thoughts per day. So we cannot control which thoughts come into our mind. But Dad's been saying for years that you can control which thoughts you dwell on. So you want to program yourself for success. You've got to program your mind to know that you can get through this and know that you have the ability, no matter what's going on outside of you, to get to that next level of your greatness and your power.
And I encourage you, as you saturate your mind, and I have to do that, that I want you to focus on what is it you want now? What's next for you? How are you going to come out of this experience? This is a cocoon. No matter how many legs a caterpillar has, it can never fly. But when it goes into that cocoon, it's not in there watching CNN, it's not watching ABC or NBC. It's in there working to convert those legs into wings so you can soar. And so the best is yet to come. You will get through this, and you're going to create something even better. I've heard people say, a lady was saying yesterday, I've lost everything. And I was talking to the television. I said, you got a pulse. You got a pulse. You woke up this morning and there was not a chalk outline around your body. 8 out of 10 millionaires have been bankrupt. Walt Disney filed bankruptcy 7 times. You've been picked out to be picked on because you got it like that. And so you have to really talk to yourself. You have to encourage yourself during these particular times and judge not according to appearances, because had the things that happened to me in Miami have not happened, I wouldn't be the person that I am now. You have something special. You got greatness in you. And many times life will challenge us. Many times that when we think that the situation that we are dealing with happened to us, really, when you start moving forward in life, you will find that it happened for you. All the meetings I had in my mother's room, living room, all the meetings I had at the Caleb Auditorium in Garth Reeves Center, all those volunteer speeches that I gave in Miami. A calling is something you love so much. You do it for nothing, but you do it so well that people will pay you to do it. I had no idea that that was happening for me to go to that next level. And so you have something special. And having a ritual, having a program for your mind is major now. I just talked to a friend of mine, and she had called one of her customers over who said, I can't take this anymore. And so she left and went home. And so my friend Alicia, she said, I don't feel good about this, and sent one of her employees to go see this lady, her customer. And when she got there, it took a long time getting to the door. When she came, her eyes were red. She had taken her children over to her mother's, and she was planning on killing herself, and she had already written the note. And so what Lisa did was disrupted her thinking. That's what we're doing right now. We have to disrupt our thinking. How we live our lives, how we show up in life is a result of what the story we believe about ourselves, what we tell ourselves, what psychologists call self-explanatory style. And many times people, because of lack of knowledge, they choose a permanent situation for a temporary situation. So you got this. You will get through this, and the best is yet to come. When we came back from Dubai, my speaking engagements were gone. They were gone. Now I'm doing more speaking engagements virtually from home.
With pajamas on from the bottom down.
Thank you very kindly. You got too much dip on your chip. All right. so there's another way. When the disciples were disturbed because they couldn't catch any fish, Jesus said, throw your net on the other side. So the best is yet to come. Now, this is a time where you have to stop and think, not about what's next, but what's now. What am I going to do now? Where am I going to begin to build and recreate my life and move forward now? What are the things that I need to look at and not look past, and that will put me in an area of doing something that's productive, that's profitable, and that's purposeful, that's in alignment with who I am and what I want to do in this next chapter in my life. Just imagine being in Florida and the coronavirus is soaring, and today, July the 1st, millions of people are getting notices that restrictions on foreclosures and people being evicted, it is activated today. A lot of people are feeling hopeless and powerless and feel like a victim, but there is, I feel, hope. Hope in the future gives you power in the present, that you have the ability that whatever life throws at you to turn it around. When Dr. Alfred Golson looked at me and said, Mr. Brown, you have prostate cancer and your PSA is 2,400. I said, what does that stand for? Prostate specific antigen. And 1 to 4 is normal. I said, can you give me a second opinion? Yes. And you're ugly too. I said, you didn't call me ugly. Dr. Golson, you didn't call me ugly, did you? He said, hell yeah, you ugly as hell. And then he said, but you got this. We determine the diagnosis. You determine the prognosis. You got this. And that taught me a lesson. I always use humor in my presentations. Why? Because when we laugh, it shuts the mind out. And then he's spoken to my heart. And when I left there, I left not with a heart full of fear, but a heart full of confidence. I got this. I've kicked cancer's butt so badly in the last 27 years, the cancer rate in my neighborhood dropped by 95%. And so you got this. You will figure this out. Willie Jolly said a setback is a setup for a comeback. You got comeback power. Bring it, Miss Lady.
Yes, you want to also own your power, own your worth, and optimize what you have. What do I mean by that? There are so many different things that you can do to create the multiple streams of income. And my grandmother used to say, it's a poor rat that only has one hole to get its cheese out of. So that means you want to look at ways that you can diversify and have several different ways to bring in capital. Maybe it's not the way that it has been before. Maybe it's time for you to launch your online business, to think about that online boutique, to take your concepts and put them into some sort of your experience, your knowledge, your information, and put it into some sort of course that's accessible to people, because there's things that you've already been there, done that, got a t-shirt and a keychain to go with it, and people can learn from you, people can grow from you, people will invest in that information and knowledge. When we came back from Abu Dhabi and Dubai, it was around March 4th, which is one of my favorite days because of Jim Rohn, Jim Boland, Jack Boland,
yes.
From he created this thing called Masterminds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we came back, I looked at what was happening and I said, you know what? We've got to refocus. We have to pivot, and we have to look at some ways that we can restructure things. When you see that Dad had all of these events on his calendar, I had events on my calendar that were locked in and confirmed, and they fell off and they were non-existent. So from there, I thought about the fact that we always have something around us that we're sitting on. We always have something around us that we haven't utilized. And I said, you know, my dad has been talking about this book that he's been wanting to write and complete and launch for the last several years. I said, it's time to do it. So every day I'm walking around, I printed it out, I put it in this big binder, and I started reading through this book and taking out the marker and editing and Xing out stuff and adding stuff and making things right with this particular book. And then decided that it was finally finished and ran it through several editors, and we launched his latest book, his new book, It's Not Over Until You Win. And it's on the new label, a new, what do you call it, publisher, Brown Family Publishing, which is something that was ignited in the midst of this quarantine time. When you get quarantined with your father and he's high maintenance, you got to find a way to be creative, to be innovative, and to find ways to do things, to utilize your time. You have ideas, books, poetry, presentations, creativity, inventions. All of this is inside of you. We all have, according to statistics, somewhere between $2 to $3 million ideas every year. The challenge is, are we utilizing them? Are we thinking about them? Are we moving forward with them? And then are we getting the help that we need? The reason why this is so powerful, what the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau is doing, is because they're providing resources, providing help, providing assistance. And Dad has always said, ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong, and ask for help and don't stop until you get it. So make sure that you are owning your power, owning your worth, and doing what you need to do to optimize what you have.
Taking the time every day to work on your mind is major, to maintain mental resolve. Walt Disney, when he had this cartoon, Elmer, was stolen from him, he thought about, what am I going to do next? And he came up with Mickey Mouse. When you look at yourself and look at your goals, I always say, when something has been taken from me and I'm working to get it, my prayer is, Father, give this to me if it's for my highest good. If not, give me its equivalent or something better. And I believe that there's something better for you. I believe that as you begin to turn within, look at yourself and say, how do I want to move forward? What is it that I want to do now? And we have all the tools and everything we need to recreate ourselves, to rethink our lives. And so I'm suggesting to you something that Stacy N.C. Grant, Dr. Stacy N.C. Grant, one of my mentees said, action, actions, despite the distractions. There are distractions going on, but what you want to do is keep your eyes focused. I remember Flip Wilson said, what you see is what you get. The book of life says, I'll give you all your eyes can see. So hold a vision. I had a vision of buying my mother a home, being adopted, being a foster kid, being born in an abandoned building, 62nd Street and 17th Avenue in 1945. My goal was to take care of my mother, being labeled educable mentally retarded at Douglas Elementary School, put back from the 5th grade to the 4th grade and failing in the 8th grade at Booker T. Washington High School. I said, I'm going to make my mother proud. And fortunately, because of Mr. Leroy Washington, who really spoke into my life, young man, go to board and turn to the class, read this script and perform for me this, what you read. I said, I can't do that, sir. Why not? I'm not one of your students. He said, look at me. I said, yes, sir. Do what I'm telling you anyhow. I said, I can't, sir. And then the other students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley is smart. He's DT. And he asked, what's DT? He's the dumb twin. And they erupted in laughter. And I said, I am, sir. And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And so now what he did was he interrupted the story I believed about myself. The people that work for you, the people that's on your team, they need your voice. You are a messenger of hope. When there's hope in the future, that gives you power in the present. You are an interrupter. This is a time for you to say a setback is a setup for a comeback. We have comeback power. We're going to get through this. This is only a test. No test, no testimony. Go ahead.
That's right. And you know what,
I love working with my daughter. We're very competitive. Go ahead. Bring it. Don't let this old fool, this again. Don't let old age fool you. You know, a young broom sweep clean, but an old broom nowhere to go. Come on, bring it.
So funny. Okay, the other thing that we're thinking about is, and we have to remember, is the power of collaborative, achievement-driven relationships. That's right. Call forth your team. There's a team that you need right now. This is a time when we need to turn to each other and not on each other. I'll repeat that. This is a time where we need to turn to each other and not on each other. So that means that you want to find people that help to offset your areas of challenge. All of us have areas of challenge. We don't call them weaknesses, but who are some people that you know that have insight, who have experience, who have wisdom on certain things that can help you to grow to your next level? And getting those people around you, making sure that you're rubbing elbows with those people, making sure that you're allowing them to nurture you, to uplift you, to encourage you, and that you're bringing value to the table as well. But Dad always says, and I think it was Mr., I can't think of the gentleman's name out of Atlanta that said, if you're the smartest person in your group, you need to get a new group.
Yes.
I repeat that.
Dennis Kimbrough.
Dennis Kimbrough. If you're the smartest person in your group, you need to get a new group. So finding people that are going to help to sharpen that axe of yours and help to create and cultivate all of your gifts and talents, and making sure that you have people around you that inspire you and uplift you, and not are people that are draining you and that are toxic and pulling you away from your goals and your objectives. And getting those type of relationships around you are going to help you. According to statistics, one goose can fly 75% faster in formation with other geese than it can flying alone. So major multi-million and billion-dollar corporations are actually building alliances in order to stay afloat in this global economy. And they are sometimes building alliances with former competitors. Then who are we to say, me, myself, and I can do this solo? When I used to speak around the world, I would say, have the audience repeat solo, Oh no. Why? Because that's dated methodology. So get out of your solo mindset. Even if you're quarantined right now in your home, you still have the ability to reach out. You still have the ability to lock arms. You still have the ability to get with people that can help you to grow, and you can actually soar together.
When I spoke in Liberty City in Fort Lauderdale for a corporation, and I want you to write this down, expand or you are expendable. This is no time to be one-dimensional. We have to have a minimum of 3 core competencies. And so I'd already spoke for this pharmaceutical company. And I sat there to watch the other speakers who came in and the other training that was going on to see what I could learn. And then it was a campaign called The Danger Zone, how to teach doctors how to talk to their patients to increase their taking of their hypertension medication, or they're going to have a stroke or die. So I asked the CEO of this company, I said, do you have hypertension? He said, yes. I said, why do you take your medication? He said, because I want to live. I asked, well, why are you having a fear-based campaign? He asked, wow, that's a point. Can you train doctors? I said, yes. That one question, this can be documented. He said, you got the contract. There are people lined up to get it. He said, you got this contract. That's a key question. I knew nothing about training doctors, but I went out and I started interviewing a variety of doctors. My mentor taught me, which gave me a competitive advantage in the speaking industry. Brownie, never let what you want to say get in the way of what your audience wants to hear. The Dale Carnegie course, they teach, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. And so that one question, that contract, and 16 presentations later, I earned $460,000. The average American earns $260,000 in their lifetime. Now, the point that I'm making with this, had I not gone through all the things that I experienced that looked like I was going to be taken out, looked like I was finished. I had no money, I have no credentials in this space, but I held a vision of being a voice of transformation. I had a vision of living a life that will outlive me. And I never let go of that. I had a vision of buying my mother a home and getting her out of Liberty City. And I want you to hold that vision of what you say. Hold that vision of what you see. Hold the vision that life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Oh, I know who you are. You've got power that you haven't even reached for yet. Bring it on, my daughter.
I get so excited sometimes I forget I'm speaking. Because I'm into your message. But this is true, Dad. I think that when we look at where we are right now, and let's just be honest, you know, I remember there was a time when Dad would say, I wish I could tell you all you have to do is think positive and be positive and everything will be all right. No, that's not where we are. We're in a different time. You can't just think positive and be positive. You have to be about protecting your mind, centering your spirit, reaching out and asking for help, learning things that you did not know before, but you're willing to learn now, becoming more technology savvy, getting people that can teach you what you don't know, being willing to let go of who you are for who you can become, and raising the bar on yourself and saying, even though it's crazy right now, even though we are not sure what's happening, even though we're in uncertain times, I still will rise. I still will push through this, and we will still grow together and find a way to make this happen so that we can support not just ourselves, but others that need us. Because it's not about us just getting there and reaching to that next level. It's about us being able to reach back to someone else and say, he or she ain't heavy. We can help them too. And so this is an interesting time. And so we encourage you to pour into yourself every single day. You can't pull anything out of an empty bag. You've got to pour into yourself, and you got to fill yourself up, knowing that you cannot push through this type of storm with nothing in your tank. I used to think it was so selfish when we would catch all of these flights around the world, and people would, the flight attendant would say, if by chance we lose altitude, put the oxygen on yourself first. I'm thinking to myself, these people are cold-blooded. They're not caring. They're not compassionate. I'm not listening.
What about the children?
I'm going to take care of the elders and the children. I'm not going to listen to them. And then one day, as I was about to doze off, it dawned on me, if I lose consciousness, who will I be able to help? And so it's not a selfish thing to put the oxygen on yourself first. It's actually a great thing, because if you are maintaining yourself, then you know anything that has to do with you will be blessed. Your community, your church, your family, your organization, your team players, your work, your vision, your business, all of this will be overflowing because you're giving from your overflow and you're taking care of you. So learning how to take care of you, and this is very challenging oftentimes with top executives, CEO. I have coaching clients that have the private jets, the private helicopters, hundreds of clients, hundreds of customers, and millions of dollars, and they know how to run several businesses and make millions. But when you say you need to take time to get with you, it's time for you to focus on you. It's time for you to get with your thoughts and learn about you and center you and pour into you. All of a sudden it says, wait a minute, this feels uncomfortable. I'm not ready for this. Mr. Brown went from going into these rooms with thousands of people and taking selfies to having to deal with himself. Yes?
Yes.
And that's not a challenge. That's not an easy thing. So we're all growing through this together. We're all learning right now together. But here's what we know. We are descendants of the ones that would not give up. And so that means that there's more in you than you think you have. And there's more power in you than you think you know. And all the creativity and the innovation that's going to come from this season will help to blaze the trail for the new reality that we are stepping into. I saw a meme that I love, Dad, and it said, if you are raising your child the way that you were raised, you're preparing them for a world that no longer exists.
Thank you.
So that means, yes, that we have to, oh, you wanted to say something?
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, that means that we need to work on preparing our younger people for this new day and for the day that is coming, not giving them information and knowledge that worked for us in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s. And now we are in 2020. And I don't know who pissed off 2020, but that's a whole nother conversation. Go ahead, Dad.
All right. Here's what I want to share with you, and then we'll pivot for questions. This is your time. If you did not already have in your mind and your heart of hearts everything that my daughter and I have shared, you would not still be watching and listening. This is your time. There are people you know who should be here listening, but they're not. They're in their rightful place. This is your time. This is just affirmation of what you already know. And sometimes we need to be reminded of what we already know. It's a coincidence that we are talking to people who have gone through some stuff, and I've gone through some stuff. Coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. Listen to me, Linda. Listen to me. I went in the Yellow Pages in Columbus, Ohio. I just got elected to the Ohio legislature. And I was looking for a real estate company in Miami to come back to buy my mother a home. And I just picked the company out at random. Talked to the person who owned the real estate company. I came down and they had a lady meet me named Shirley. And so Shirley took me and my mother to look for homes in North Miami Beach. And I saw this beautiful home that I knew my mother would love. And I had her to take me, and we made the arrangements to get this house. Then I got my mother to come. And my mother said, whoa, boy, if I lived in something like that, I would feel like Mrs. Rockefeller. I said, Mama, you like that? She said, yes. I'd already got it. I know my mother tastes. And so I said, let's go there. I know the people. I'm sure they don't mind you coming and they would love to meet you. When I got to the door, I couldn't hold back anymore. I put the key in. I said, Mrs. Rockefeller, this is your home. She said, what are you talking about, Leslie? I said, this is your home. It's all paid for. It's fully furnished and everything's in it. She said, you didn't have to do that. I said, you didn't have to take us in as foster kids and adopt us either. And so we came in and we started walking around and Shirley was there. My mother said, what's your last name, baby? She said, Bannister. What is your father's name? Frank Bannister. Leslie? Yes, ma'am. Frank Bannister is a social worker. Frank Bannister was the man who gave you and your brother to me. I said, no. And Shirley said, I didn't say anything, but I heard my father many times ask, I wonder what happened to those twins. Coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. I believe this place where we are, we were born for such a time as this. I believe, I know our children are watching us. The suicide rate increased over 32% before the coronavirus. And I believe this is your time. This is your time. You have something special. You got greatness in you. That's my story.
No. You can't end like that. Tell them what happened to the house, Daddy.
I bought the house. Yes, I did buy the house for Mama. And she was so thrilled. Thank you so much, baby. Yes. So we're going to pivot here because we have 1 minute and 32 seconds.
But I think some of that time is a little off. Tell them about what happened with losing the house.
No, we don't want to go there now, baby. We got to be respectful of the time. So
how are we doing? I need to hear from Connie Kennard. Can you tell us how we are on time, or Bill, anyone?
You're doing fine on time.
Okay. So we got another few.
Bill is not the monitor with the time.
You're doing good.
I hit the unmute the quickest.
Yeah, take another 5 or 10. We'll be ready for.
Ready. You gotta be ready.
Yeah.
I went to Wakanda. You remember that? Yeah, okay. So let me have some questions. We've been talking
We're gonna
a lot.
do questions, but I think this is a key point as we get ready to wrap this up, Dad. The fact is that you secured the home.
Yes, all right, let me share this with you. I bought the home. First time doing that. And during the negotiations and ready to sign the contract, my attorney asked, have you done a title search? And I said, no. I said, what's that? To see if any liens against the property. So I said, no. Well, if there are liens against the property, you're going to be responsible for those. You're going to have to pay those off. So I looked at the guy. His mother is a judge in Miami. And I said, are there any liens on this property? And he said, no. And so she said, take 2 or 3 days less and let me do the research. He said, I don't have 2 or 3 days. I got to go back to Philadelphia. The only reason I want to sell you this house is because you want to help your mother. And I admire you for that. If you don't get it today, I'm going to sell it to somebody else. And I said, I believe him. I bought it, gave him the money that I'd saved. About 2 months later, people start driving by, looking at the house, wanting to come in. I said, wait a minute, no. We live here. No, this house is up for foreclosure. No, it's not. And then I checked the mail. The house had gone in for foreclosure. The guy who had the lien against it wanted all of the money up front, $65,000. I did not have it. I said, sir, all my life, I wanted to buy my mother home. I wanted to do the right thing by her. Please give me a break and let me pay you $10,000 a month. He said, no, I want it all or get out. The night before, I was pacing back and forth. I finally went downstairs. I said, Mama, I have not been able to sleep. I got to tell you something. She said, what is it, Leslie? I can hear you upstairs walking back and forth. I said, we got to get out of the house and go back to Liberty City. The house is in foreclosure. And I started crying. And she said, oh, straighten yourself up. I didn't like this damn house anyhow. I said, what? She said, no. going up and down the steps was bad on my knees. I said, oh my God. We went back to Liberty City, and I was unloading the truck, and I was crying, and people waving, hey, Mamie, y'all back? I thought your boy brought you home. Yeah, but he lost it. And Mama came to the back of the truck as I was unloading the truck, feeling hopeless and distraught and depressed. And she said, boy, why are you crying? I said, Mama, I said, I've disappointed you. We're back where we started. I'm so sorry. And she said, listen, you have nothing to be sorry about. I feel so ashamed. I should have known. I should have known. I trusted him. Leslie, yes, ma'am. Hold your head up, boy. You have nothing to be ashamed of. We still have each other. Bring that furniture in the house. I said, yes, ma'am, Mama. And when she did that, I saw a new house, bigger house. When she did that, when she held my head up, I kept that vision in my head. And we went in the house. There were roaches there playing bid whist, saying, oh, Mamie's back. Oh my God. Oh, she's gonna fix sweet potato pie for us. My mother could fix a sweet potato pie so good you couldn't eat it with your shoes on. Had to take your shoes off so you could wiggle your toes. And I went into action. I was focused, and I was able to get another house in 45 days. Action, action, despite the distraction. You got this.
You can handle this.
You can handle
wherever
this.
your business is right now. If the doors look like they're closing, if you're barely keeping the doors open, if you're not in profit, if you're not knowing what your next move is going to be, what I want you to learn from our family story, from what we have grown through to be here right now, talking to you, speaking life to you in this moment, is that you can handle this. Hold your head up, push forward, and know that it's not over until we win.
So we will entertain questions now.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. All right. So we've gotten several questions in our Q&A. So I'm going to start off with this first one. How do you figure out who you are and what your purpose is? I have asked God to reveal it to me, but I think I struggle with it. I know what I want to do, but sometimes that doesn't define who you are. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that is a challenging question. You can't read the label when you're in the frame. So it's very important to get some help, for somebody to help you to look at that and to process that. I'd like for that person to email me at lesbrown77@gmail.com, and I will help you with that so you can discover who you are, what is it you need to do now, and how you can move your life forward.
Yes, and I would say
but you can't look in your own eyes. Psychologists call it scotomas. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Those are your blind spots.
Yes.
So I would say get some people around you that you know, love, and trust and respect, and ask them, what are some things that you've observed about me? Sometimes people can't see it, as Dad said, because it's hard to see the picture when you're inside of the frame. There's so many different things that you're missing about yourself. I have an auntie that is just amazing at decorating, and she loves to decorate, and that's her natural gift. But when I tell her you could have your own interior decorating company, I can see it in her eyes. She doesn't think that's possible for her. So you have to see what your gifts and your talents are, your passions are, and then also work on your belief in yourself. When I said you got to own your worth, own your power, and then optimize what you have, that's exactly what we were speaking to. And so there's a challenging moment when someone can see something in you that you can't see within yourself, so you reject it. My father told me, Ona, you can speak, you can coach. I said, no, I can't. I'm shy. I'm an introvert. I cannot do that. And so I had a limited vision of myself. And as a result of a limited vision of myself, I wasn't open to hear what someone else was telling me was possible for me. And that's what you want to do, is to be able to rise up and receive what you hear from those that you respect and trust, and then move forward with it with a sense of urgency.
Yes. Any other questions, please?
Very good. Okay, next question. How does one accept that the business is no longer working so as to move forward in pursuit of a new leg of the journey? And if their employees impacted?
Well, first of all, people who don't accept the reality that their business is over because of the shifts and things that have taken place in the economy, if they have not made the decision to move on, those people have skinny children and their waistlines are getting smaller too.
Let's pray for my dad. His medication is wearing off. So here's what you want to do.
No,
you come to a time in life where you have to accept when it's time to turn away, when you need to count your losses. What did Kenny Rogers used to say, Dad?
You gotta know when to hold them, when to fold them, and when to walk away.
Yes. And so if you are finding yourself in a state of a hemorrhaging business, and you've done all that you can do, and you've given it all that you can give, and you've talked to your people that you respect that's told you got to let it go. I had properties at one point that I did not want to let them go, and I was using all of my little optimism and all my positive mindset, and I had a financial person look at me and say, get close to my eyes and say, listen, listen, Linda, listen to me. You're pouring money into something that has a hole at the bottom. And this is not going to work for you anymore. And so whatever your intentions were with all of these properties, at this point, it's time to release it and let it go. There's a saying, let go or be dragged. So we have to know when that time has come. And that's a difficult space because we teach never give up, push forward, always keep going. But there are times when you got to know when it's time to turn away from that mountain and start a new frontier, start a new mountain and begin something that's better for you.
Helen Keller said, when one door closes, another door opens. But most of us spend time being depressed about, worried about, and stressed out about the closed door. We don't see the open door. I was a disc jockey when I left Miami, and I was good and dominant. And this is 1975, and I editorialized about police brutality. Same stuff we're going through now. When police beat a Vietnam veteran while he's holding his 4-month-old baby. And I editorialized that and got them fired. And I couldn't get another job because they said I was controversial. And my newsman said, Brownie, do you know why you go see Zig Ziglar and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale? I said, yeah, because I like the message. He says, no. He said, that's in you. That's who you are. You ought to look at that. I was suffering from possibility blindness. I did not think that AT&T, Procter & Gamble, McDonald's Corporation, General Electric, I did not think these corporations would see me as a resource or have credibility. And just because you can't see it, don't mean you can't do it. Eye has not seen, ear has not heard, nor has entered the heart of mankind what God has in store for you if you bet on you, if you're willing to take a chance on you, if you're willing to become a risk taker. Viscott said, if you're not willing to risk, you can't grow. And if you can't grow, you can't become your best. And if you can't become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is you? Bet on you. Come out swinging, take no prisoners, and eat the wounded.
Oh, that's kind of vicious.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. That was good. Okay, so next question. What is your greatest disappointment? And then I'll go one step further and say, how did you turn it around?
My greatest disappointment that I did not spend more time and create an integrative approach to pursuing financial independence. People talk about balance. I talk in terms of an integrative approach. If I had my life to live over again, what I did was I stayed in touch with and relationship with my family. I built that around the business. If I had to do over again, I will build my business around my family time. My son, John Leslie, he gave me a wake-up call. He was 10 at the time.
Yes.
And the first time I earned just over $100,000 speaking in the Georgia Dome to 80,000 people. You can go on now and say Les Brown speaking in the Georgia Dome. And I came home and I said, look at this. This is what you're going to do. This is nothing compared to what you're going to do. And I bought him presents. He says, thank you, Dad. I'm proud of you. He went in home and he came back, and just before I retired, he gave me a note. He said, read this, would you please, before you go to sleep? So I said, yes. And the note read, what if a man gains the world and loses his son?
Mm.
I love your presence, but I love you. I want you.
Your presence.
Your presence. And left and went to bed. I cried like a baby. I said, oh my God, what if a man gains the world and loses his son?
Mm.
And so I began to reorient and began to structure my life differently, to spend more time with my children. The big mistake. If you want to lose something, you want to lose money. You can get that back, but time you can't lose back. And the fortunate thing, my kids said to me, we were angry with you all the time that you were away and all the missed occasions that you should have been here. But we love you and we're proud of you. And we know why you had to do what you had to do.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Next question.
Next question. Okay. And this is from a person in Overtown. What are some of the strategies and practices that we can implement to increase our economic impact in Black business districts such as Overtown?
First of all, don't think in terms of Black businesses in Overtown. This is a global world. This is the era the late Peter Drucker calls the era of the 3 C's: accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, and tremendous competition. When I got on that bus from Miami going to Atlanta with a pot full of frog legs, marinated frog legs, my goal was not to be a Black speaker or speak at Black History Month or any of those other events. My goal was to speak to the world, think globally. I've got customers around the world. The major purchasers of my material is the country of Sweden. 98% of my clients are Caucasian. So just think globally. You don't want to be one-dimensional, and because there are people who want your products, who need your services, who need your knowledge around the world. They're part of your tribe. You haven't seen them yet, but when you get exposed to them and when you speak, they will hear your voice, not just in their ears, but in their heart. What you have has their name on it. So be global in your thinking and hold yourself to higher standards. Operate out of the thinking of Henry David Thoreau, who said, do not go where the path may lead, go where there's no path and leave a trail. John H. Johnson said, there's no defense against an excellence that meets a pressing public need. Hold yourself to a higher standard. Make sure that you're providing what Warren Buffett would say, a competitive, sustainable advantage in terms of the quality and the experience that you create for your customers. And you'll be able to grow from Overtown to around the world like I have.
I totally agree with everything Dad said. And I would also say that it's important for you to look at your environment. And we know about Little Haiti, Little Havana, Little Miami-Dade, Overtown, Liberty City. So we know
Little
these
Cuba.
areas, Little Cuba. We've been to these areas. We've supported these areas for years. So what you want to do is to create your own ecosystem and support one another. Come together and come up with a way for you to be able to help uplift each business, each idea, each strength, each gift. Now you have communities coming together and finding ways to say, wait a minute, somebody in our community can sew, let's make masks. Someone in our community knows how to make, the hand sanitizer, let's sell that. Whatever you need to do to come together as a community and begin to create together and collaborate together is very important. And there are some people that will be willing to do that with you so that you can build and grow and develop, and then also be able to reach out to those people in other parts of the world that are waiting for you. You are the answer to someone's prayer. And so honor the gifts, the ideas, the creativity that you have inside of you, and watch that begin to generate income for you.
Very good. Okay, we'll do 2 more questions before we close out, but I got a message from Dr. Dorothy Jenkins Fields to say hello, welcome home.
Thank you.
Dr.
Yes.
Dr. Johnson delivered you, Mamie Brown.
Yes.
An inspiration, and she's telling me to tell you thank you.
Yes, he's 96 now. Yes, I know Dr. Johnson. He delivered us. Wow. Yes. So was there a question?
Yes.
Oh, they just want to say hello.
Oh, thank you so much. Hello. Wow. You bring it up to news.
So this question, I love your ability to inspire people and can only hope to do a small fraction in my life. What's one thing you can tell us in these unprecedented times that we can do to inspire greatness in others?
Be the message that we bring. People say, practice what you preach. I say, preach what you practice.
Mm-hmm.
I tell all the speakers that I work with, politicians, celebrities, athletes, who you are behind the words speak much louder than the words that you speak. Work on yourself, develop yourself, be in alignment with the calling on your life, and make a commitment to yourself to honor your dreams, to honor yourself. Ian Levinson said, give to yourself until your cup runneth over, and then give to others from the overflow. And so we're now spending this time giving to ourselves and rethinking our lives and reinventing ourselves. And they're very blessed, because all the tools we need to soar out of this, to move beyond this, we have those. Everything we need, we have right now. We must work on our minds to continue to expand our vision, to upgrade our skill set. We're in that place where Einstein said, the thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. And we must, as Ona said, create collaborative, achievement-driven, supported relationships with the mindset that we will get through this and the best is yet to come.
Okay. All right, next question. How do you surround yourself with the right people to make the journey with you?
You're on a talent hunt. You have to evaluate and watch people. Give them a 90-day period. You watch them and observe them. And you get them small projects to see how well they do it. How you do anything is how you do everything. And watch them. There are a lot of pretenders out here, but there's a lot of talent out here right now. It's an employer's market. You can find people in Miami or around the world. I've got people doing work for me. We have everything we need. 2007 Time magazine said the computer is the person of the year. Why? For the first time in the history of the world, everyday people have access to e-commerce and information. And so it's easier now to make it than ever before. And that's the key. Just watch them, observe them, and test them for 90 days. Because there are a lot of pretenders, and you'll begin to see them. You'll begin to see their character. I love something that T.D. Jakes said, Lord, don't let my talents take me where my character can't keep me.
That's good. And I want to quote Erykah Badu. She said, pick your friends like you pick your fruit. I feel like we should do the same thing with our business alliances, our partners. We want to be very selective and make sure that these are people that are willing to keep their word, people of integrity. We are at a stage in our lives where we don't have to play with any and everyone. We want to be selective of the people we allow into our world, so that when we begin to build and create and collaborate, we have a strong foundation in place, and we're working with people that are cut from the same cloth and branches of the same tree.
I want to end this with this. Carol Ann, thank you. This has been on my bucket list It's one of the happiest days of my life. I've always wanted to be called back and to have people ask me questions. Say, how did you get to where you are? How did you do this? And I was there at Unity on Biscayne Boulevard.
Unity
on the Bay.
Yes. And I just said, well, to most people here, I'm a non-entity. Nobody knows me here. And then I go to Poland and they put my name up on an electronic billboard and they'd start cheering. And I have tears of gratitude and tears of sadness. And today, what a mighty God we serve. My friend Carol Ann.
Les, I have to tell you, there are so many of us that love and remember you. Anna Price, Jackie Collier, Maurice Ferre loved you.
Yes.
To the day he died. You have many, many friends in Miami, and we do not and will not ever forget you. You better know.
Well, you have this. I'm drawing this off my bucket list. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
We love you guys and we believe in you. And thank you for allowing us to be a part of this.
Yes.
It's definitely healing for Dad. And it's a part of Miami's in
Awesome.
our heart. It's a part of who we are, our legacy as a family. And so we're honored to be able to pour in and to serve. It's one thing when you go to places that you don't necessarily even know the language or you're not familiar with the culture, but this feels like coming home. And so thank you for allowing us to come home and do what we love to do.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. I know that everybody on this Zoom has enjoyed it. I've seen the messages. I've gotten messages on my phone. This is exciting. And you know what? We're looking forward to doing something like this again. Okay.
Yeah, we will bring you back, Les.
Yes.
And Ona, my dear Ona.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye for now.
Yes. And we'll end it. One of the quotes that you said, I will get through this and the best is yet to come. And I'll leave that with everybody from Les Brown. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Thank you, Dr. Brown and Ona Brown and Les Brown for the gems that you have shared today. I know that everyone will take something from this and be able to move forward.
Oh, tell them to get my book, You Gotta Be Hungry, to get it on Amazon.
Absolutely. I am hungry. LesBrown.com, as you'll see on the screen. Get his book. As he said, you gotta be hungry.
Yes, yes.
Les Brown.
Better known as Mamie Brown's baby boy.
Mamie Brown's
Right.
Will you say it for us one time? We want to hear you say it.
You gotta be hungry.
So please go to his website, get the book, follow him. I follow him on Facebook. You'll be encouraged, entertained, all that. Follow Dr. Brown. You'll see Miami and Beach's website, Multicultural Miami. Keep up with us as well. I want to thank everybody. And I just say, be safe, sanitize, and be encouraged. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Love you.
Love
you.
Love you more.
Yes.
All right.